is, peeking out just beyond the trees. Go baby go. Falcon 9 launch. One of the greatest things about living in Florida is getting to see that on a regular basis. Southern trajectory, carrying some Starlink satellites. We'll probably see it come up. Maybe see the second stage ignition after Miko. There it is, keeps going. What a beautiful launch. A bit cloudy, but man, you can see how fast that puppy is hauling. That is one fast bird. And we'll lose it up behind those clouds, I'm sure. But there you go. A little bit of a rocket launch for you guys to start out this video. Hey, welcome back to Steve's Project Car Garage. My name is Steve. I hope you guys enjoyed that SpaceX launch. It's kind of fun. One of the neat things that we have here in Florida, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So in today's video, though, we're going to be focused on getting the crankshaft inspected and polished. And I'm going to take you through my process that I've discovered to go ahead and try to save this crankshaft from the machine shop. So grab yourself a cup of ginger juice and stick around. It's going to be a fun video. Before we get started today, though, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Lost Wrench Garage. Greg with the Lost Wrench Garage went ahead and did me a nice shout out. And he likes to promote other channels on his channel. And I like that idea. So please definitely go ahead and check him out. He's got a lot of cool projects going on, including a Spitfire project and a couple of motorcycle projects. So his videos are really good, and they have a lot of in-depth information into what he's working on with his vehicles. So go ahead and give him a subscribe today. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and take a look at this crankshaft and get in. All right, welcome to the crank. So, I told you guys in previous videos there's some scoring here. It's pretty minor, but there is some scoring on the journals for the rod bearings that I want to try to clean up with some emery call-off, and that's what we're going to work on today. One of the things I was told too, that you should tap it with a hammer just to hear it ring, and if it rings like a bell, then that's a good indicator that I don't have any cracks. So I don't know. I've never tried that before. I've never done this before, so I don't know if that's true or not, but let's just do it. I got a little lead mallet here. I'm just going to give it a tap on the front. Sounds good. I don't know. What do you guys think? Rings like a bell? Maybe. Anyway, so as we were tearing this thing apart, Chris was telling me that he thinks that, there's some scoring. You can feel it when you run your fingernail across it. When you look at it closely, yeah, you can see a couple little heat spots, but nothing crazy, I don't think. And so what I want to try to do is see if we can use some of this 600 grit emery paper to go ahead, or emery cloth rather, to see if we can just kind of polish it up a little bit and see if we can get it into a little bit better shape. So I'm going to go ahead and just try a little bit of an experiment first, maybe on this side over here where it's a little bit dirty, just to kind of see how that does work. I can see where the rear main seal rides, and I want to just try to clean up this area first and just kind of see what that gets me. So I got a little bit of ATF, and I'm going to use the ATF just as kind of a lubricant, because obviously you don't want to do this dry. And let's just see what the result of this is, just with a little bit of emery paper on there. Actually, I have some gearbox oil. This might even be better because I have its little squirter. So let's see. This is left over from the gearbox rebuild, so put that around there. Oh yeah, that cleans that up decently. Nice. Okay. Let's just clean this and see what happens. Okay, so that's 50 passes of the paper on that side. I'm going to rotate this a little bit. We'll do 50 more passes on this side. Right, and then we'll do 50 on this. Cool, let's just give this a little wipe down and see what the result is. Well, I mean, from a cleaning up perspective, that definitely came out nicer. It isn't a super polished finish, though. You can see there's areas that do get missed. Okay, see, right there? Another good example. So let me see if I can give it 50 passes right there and see what that does. That definitely cleans it up, and it does feel pretty smooth, but it is not nearly as smooth as I was thinking it would get. So I don't know how much I want to go into it with this. Maybe I need to do a little more research first before I really dive in and start trying to do journals, because I might be making a mistake by trying to do this myself. So let's see what I can find, and I will get back to you.
Several days later.
All right, so it's been a few days. I went back and I did some research, and I watched a video that I'll throw in the description below. A really good method of polishing the crank at home. And essentially what we got here is some 800 grit, 1200 grit, and then an assortment of 1000, 1500, 2000, and 2500 grit paper. Probably won't need to get into a lot of this, maybe. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut some sandpaper, some of this 800 grit, and I cut it to around the size of this. And I'm going to use a piece of strap, and I'm going to try to get this to polish up here on the end. And then if that all works, I'll move to the 1200 grit, maybe the 1000 first, and then the 1200, and then finish probably with the 15 to see if I can get this to a nice finish here. If everything goes well with this piece, then what I'll do is I'll proceed on with each one of the journals, and fingers crossed be good. Worst case scenario, if I can't get it to go, then it'll go off to the machine shop, but I'm trying to save myself a few $100 here and see what kind of result I get out of this. So with that being said, let me get set up and let's get cracking. All right, well, there you have it. It's not perfect, but this is pretty good. This is a part that only the oil seal rides along. You can see that thin line right there, but I'll kind of tell you what I did with this. So I started out with the 600, as you saw, with the emery cloth. That brought down a lot of the big stuff, and then I proceeded on to 1000, then I did 1200, then I did 1500, and then I just did 2000. And then I took my microfiber and I just kind of give it a little bit of a polish there, but see, it's pretty decent. You know, it's a mirror, I wouldn't say quite a mirror finish, but pretty stinking close. So that should definitely help aid in providing a nice surface for the oil to ride on. Because remember, this is, well, this part here is not, this is not a critical part necessarily, but these passages are, you know, you want to make sure you have a nice smooth surface so that way you don't have oil getting caught up and that the oil can float. Because ideally, you know, all these journals are going to have a thin layer of oil between them and the bearings that allow the parts to move and go nicely. So what I'm going to do is I am going to now, I think, I take the method that I used on this and apply it to the journals, because the journals are going to be very important. This is important, but again, like I said, only the oil seal for the rear main seal rides along here, and that was fine. Honestly, there was just a lot of schmutz on this, so I wanted to just clean it up and use it as a test. So let me get set up, and I'm going to start on this guy here, and then we'll kind of go from there and just work our way progressively across it. Big thing I've run into that's a problem though is that just trying to hold this guy down, I don't have a good way to really kind of clamp it, and I was having a hard time trying to figure that out. So I'm gonna see if I can come up with something, but last thing I want to do is really kind of get going to town on it and then all of a sudden have it drop the hit the floor, and that would be a bad day. So anyways, let's keep going. All right, so I wanted to do an actual journal before I went ahead and showed you guys the process. So here it is. You can see the journal. That is looking really, really good. So I used the same process as I did on this. However, I did take it a step further with some 2000 grit, which I did not do on this one. I'll probably come back and do this later, but this was 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. And I'm pretty happy with that finish. That is really, really nice. You know, I can't say necessarily that it's a mirror finish, but it's pretty close. I mean, that's decent. You can see my finger nicely in that. It is very smooth. I don't feel any kind of pitting, stopping, gouging lines, anything like that on here now that concerns me. So that's one main bearing down, 2 more main bearings to go, and 4 more small journals. This time, I'm going to go ahead and I'll set you up on a tripod and I'll kind of talk you through the process and show you what I'm doing. All right, so this is the journal that we're going to work on. You can see that it's got some good heat marks on it. No real scoring, which is good, but it's got some heat. And so what I am going to do is I'm going to start out with my 600 grit emery paper. And so I got the emery paper and I'm going to take a little bit of this gear oil. I'm going to put that on there just to kind of lubricate it a little bit. And I'm going to start by just kind of wrapping this around the journal itself. And that's going to overlap just a smidge, okay? And now I'm going to take this piece of t-shirt that I've got. This is just kind of like the band of a t-shirt. And I'm going to wrap it twice around the paper, okay? And now I am just going to do this. And I'm going to do this now for a good little bit, so stay with me. All right, now we're going to pull that off and take a look at what we have so far. So far we're pretty good. Looks nice. I can still see some of those heat marks in there. So we're just going to throw that back on there. We're just going to keep going for a little bit. Go ahead and just give that a little clean. Awesome. So I am not seeing really a lot of evidence of those heat marks. That's a good sign. Let me go ahead and rotate it and just see what the other side looks like. All right, so I can see that on this side here, there's still some heat marks. So what I'll do is I'm gonna take that 600 grit and I'm just gonna go at it from this angle, which should give it a little more pressure. And we should be able to get those out. So you can still see a little bit of those marks that I was talking about down in here. So I want to still try a little bit more to get those. So I'm just going to keep trying at it from a different angle and see if I can get those to come on out. Getting fewer and fewer of them though, which is good. There we go. All right, those are out. That is nice and clean. I am very happy with that. So now it's all about bringing it up to a polish. Okay, so we got those heat marks out. Now we're gonna go ahead and step up to an 800 grit on this journal, and we're gonna repeat the process. But I mean, you can see just by doing a basic wipe down on it that it looks all right. So next up, 800 grit. All right, same thing as before. Put a little bit of oil on there. Put it on. Okay. Wrap it. Get my now very dirty piece of shirt. I'll do 2 wraps. And go to town. Catch up with you in a minute. Alright, that's 800. Let's go ahead again and just wipe it down and see where we're at, see how we're doing. Yeah, it's getting there. Alright. Decent, but can definitely get a way better polish. So let's go up to the next. All right, so I'm going to 1200 here. I was going to do 1000, but I grabbed 1200. Let's just see how 1200 does for me. All right, so let's see how that looks with the 12. Okay. Ooh, it's getting there. Getting there, getting that nice shine that we were getting. Okay. Let's roll it around to see what the other side looks like. And that's fantastic. See, look at that. That is looking pretty good. All right. Just for yucks, let's throw 2000 on it. See how that does. Oh, look at that. Wow. That's a finish. That's an even better finish than I got in the other one. That thing looks brand new. There it is. Check that out. Not too shabby. So really the next thing that I should do is just take my microfiber and try to really kind of give it a little bit of a shine there with the microfiber, but overall it's pretty decent. So that's going to be the process. I got part of it down and a long way to go. So I'm going to cut the camera, turn on some tunes, and just going to keep going. So we'll check in with you in a few. All right, so there it is. Boy, howdy, do we have a result. Look at that. I am so over the moon happy with the way that this came out. I was honestly worried that this was going to end up being a trip to the machine shop. But honestly, it turned out great. I mean, look at the finish on this. It's near mirror-like, you know. I mean, that's good. So this journal was one that I had a lot of concerns with about scoring. there was a pretty decent score that was in here. But now when I rub my finger over it, I don't feel anything. It is good. It is absolutely good. I have maybe a little more work that I might put into it with a little more 2000 grit or maybe even 2500 grit. But for the most part, I think that you guys get the point that you can totally try to save these before sending them to a machine shop. So anyways, that's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up real quick, and we can keep proceeding on with the rest of this car. All right, well, as you saw, that was it. The end result on that crankshaft is actually really, really good. It is going to be just fine for my application. I really don't have any doubt. With the miking that I did before to make sure that everything was round, and now just that cleanup polishing, it cost me maybe 30 bucks in the sandpaper, and I actually didn't even use all of it. There's still a ton left, so I've got a bunch left over for when it comes to other projects. But versus 200 or more, if not for a machine shop to do it, right? It's totally worth giving it a go. If you don't get the result you're looking for, you can still send it to a machine shop, right? So there's not a whole heck of a lot lost in doing it on your own. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video. I thank you guys for subscribing and joining us. And thanks to those who joined me in my live feed last night while I was doing this. That was a lot of fun to just chit chat for a while with a lot of you guys. So thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, click the bell to get those post notifications. And remember, when working on project cars like this, give it your best effort. Give it a try. There's nothing that you can lose. And don't be that dreaded previous owner. Cheers.